Welcome to the Built Different podcast. Let's get it.
Welcome everybody to the Built Different podcast. This is the second edition of High and Inside. I'm your host, Thomas Saxby. I'm joined with my co-host. We got Ricky Mickey the second.
What up, dog?
We got Wolfie.
Yo.
And we got Not So White Chris. So, Chris, why don't you lead us off, man? What's on your mind? What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm just going to say that the Braves, crazy signing last night. Michael Harris, 5 years, $72 million guaranteed. They got
Get your paper, young man.
7 players locked up through 2027. Kind of crazy. You know, Austin Riley was a few weeks ago. They're just building up team from the bottom.
They just got to take care of Dansby. That's it.
The Braves are really, they're doing their thing. Yo, Wolfie, what's up, man?
What's going on, guys? I don't know if you saw the news, but the Mets just brought up Brett Brady, and not only did he just get a home run in his first at bat, but they're winning the game 4-1 right now against the Braves. Everybody was talking smack. I know, Chris, you just said something about the Braves. Guess what? The Mets are coming. We're making moves. Steve Cohen knows how to press the right buttons, and the season isn't over. The Mets, we got this division.
Okay, all right, yeah, I mean, I guess. Yo,
I'm just coming in with a hot take right away. You know, I'm
Fair
spitting
enough,
facts.
The Mets.
Was it
Yeah,
2.5?
I might have a nice word to say about them.
Wait.
We ain't about to do it
Aren't
now.
the Braves within 4 after losing tonight?
I mean, they've been within 4 for the last 4 months. I mean, we just got a guy that just changed our division. We just got Jacob deGrom back in the rotation.
Yeah, well, it's getting a little. The squeeze is coming, man, because, you know, Taiwan went down, Cookie is down, Escobar is down, Luis is down. I'm like, yo, this past week has not been kind to you, sir.
Apparently, though, Walker, good news, he did say it's only maybe just for 1 game, if even that. He said he might not even miss a start. Cookie's going to hurt us a little bit. Beatty to replace Galorme and Escobar. That's a huge upgrade, but you know what?
Yeah.
We still, you know, with DeGrom coming back, Scherzer on the mound, I'm not too worried.
I like Trevor Williams, too. If he gets any spot starts, he's pretty money.
Yeah.
We got to get out there.
Plus, we never
It's
lost
like
David
the-
Peterson, and we still and
Falling of
McGill
New
comes
York
back
teams.
next week. So you know
Falling
what?
now. The falling of the New York teams. Mid-August.
Yo, you notice how I
You're
kept
gonna
my
be
intro to what up, though? Because I wasn't trying to say nothing about my team. And
Ricky,
There
what's
you
on
go.
your mind, though, man? What's on the top of your mind, man?
what's on my
up?
mind is I need to start buying, like blood pressure medicine. This team is... Fuck, man. I don't even want to talk about them, man. I try to just get my little head nod and... I didn't even want to talk about the Yankees, man. Clay Holmes now. I'm like, Giancarlo's coming back, but I don't know what he gonna look like. Judge is like, this is beyond carrying us right now. Like it's like a Santa sleigh of just injured motherfuckers, and he got the sack over his back. He's literally carrying us right now. And
Sack over his back.
Aaron Boone and Cashman or Rudolph.
Yo,
Jeez.
don't add to the agony.
But
It hurts
listen,
enough.
Listen, I just want to say though, last episode we talked about the Orioles a lot, right? I think we can admit we talked about the Orioles on many different occasions.
Mm.
So I kind of want to open like with a real crazy thought. Like, I really feel like Baltimore should be investigated. Now, hold on.
Oh,
Hear me out.
what
Hear me
is coming in? What
Hear
is
me
this?
out. Hear me out. So,
Oh,
like,
FBI
I
badge,
know you
like,
guys. Do
flipping
you
the
guys
pamphlet.
remember
Yo.
when Mark Trumbo
Yo.
hit 47 home runs? Right?
Okay,
You
yes.
guys probably
What?
don't.
No, I do.
Wow.
I do.
That's
Ready?
a name I haven't
So
heard since
now- right, now
1842.
remember this.
04?
Okay. Remember that. Remember that. Now, I want you guys to remember that Nelson Cruz literally revitalized his entire career with Baltimore. Okay? Now I
I
got
see
something
where this is
else.
going.
Ty Wigington was an all-star for the Royals.
Jesus.
And honestly,
Get to
guys,
your
you guys
point,
should take it
sir.
from Orioles legend.
No. I like where this is going.
You guys should take it from Orioles legend Vladimir Guerrero. He retired there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I'm just
boy.
saying, I just hit you guys with as many irrelevant Orioles facts that I could.
I brought
'cause,
up
like,
Brady.
I feel like they're serving some of that out there in Baltimore.
I brought up Brady.
Because this is getting crazy.
I
They're
brought
still
up
winning.
Brady Anderson last week. I'm just saying,
Dude,
when
I'm
there's
telling you,
smoke,
when the
there's
Orioles get
fire.
that third wild card spot.
Oh,
Yo, let's get
man.
into
They're
it.
still winning games.
Robot umps?
Robot umps. You know,
Robot umps?
I thought about that all day. when I saw that topic.
Yo, Chris, why don't you tell us what you think? You trying to put us on the spot? Let's put you on the spot. That's a good question.
You see these robots in Westworld, right? And they're able to just create these worlds. But then meanwhile, you have Angel Hernandez just blowing calls. Specifically against the Nationals. Maybe Juan Soto doesn't leave.
I can't stop
Like-
laughing. I'm sorry.
Did we even have a chance?
Oh,
Westworld.
shit, I'm tearing.
You snuck in that Westworld joint, son.
I'm trying
That
so
shit got me
hard.
crying. That's a.
Oh!
And then all I
No,
saw
for real
was-
though, for real. No,
I was hoping that we could have just kept my laughter in, but oh my god, this is definitely the bloopers. This is absolutely the bloopers.
We could just cut it. We could just cut.
All right, so we're back. Sorry about the
Oh,
guys'
man.
laughter break.
Oh
Jesus,
man,
that was a good one. But yeah, so my
God,
take on the robot umps, you know what? As good as it would be to have perfection in the game, you're never going to have that. It's a game, it's a human element with human players, batters, coaches, teams, everything. You know what? Strikes and balls, they might be on the fine line. Who's to say it's a ball or strike? Are they really going to be that precise? No. Just leave it the way it is. Have the guys behind the plate. Have the guys behind the bases. Just call it the way it is. You know, I actually like the managers arguing, even if it turns into nothing. Just keep it the way it is. Let's not add more robots to it. It's just, this is baseball. This isn't, MLB The Show. This isn't what we're doing, We have enough with, like, the idea of a pitch clock coming in. That's enough robots for me. We don't need, some guy with a microphone behind the plate saying, ball one, strike two, all that. That's BS in my opinion. We need a straight up guy behind the plate. We need better guys behind the plate. That's no excuse to not have an upgrade. But no, we don't need robot umpires behind the plate. We don't need Angel Hernandez behind the plate. But we don't need, like, C-3PO behind the plate either. Like, it's still baseball. You wouldn't have it with basketball or football. You're not having it with baseball. Just call it the way it is. Call it the way it is.
oh yeah.
for sure, yo. What's up, Ricky? What do you think?
This is my pastor. Like, I'm at his church. I absolutely agree. Hallelujah. Like, yes, I agree. And another thing, I'm not for taking jobs away from people. They come up, they do it at a high school level, the Pee Wee level, Little League, and they work their ass off to get to that point. You know what I mean? The worst umpires in the major league are like some of the top 100 in the world. You know what I mean? So I still got to give them that respect. And, Wolf, you alluded to it, like the human element, we're not going to have managers arguing about anything. Like, where's the fun in that? Where's the fun of seeing, like, a manager
Not my fault.
kick dust on or you know what? If we may get that psycho manager that just starts wailing on a robot, like that would be freaking must see TV. Like, just break his hand on a fucking break his hand on J5 head or some shit, Johnny 5. Nah, that'd be nuts. I would love to see that,
circuit.
but yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I would love to see put it this way, I would like to see the invention of Robo Umps. maybe I would like to see it at a, let's
As
say
like a
like a
little TikTok
baseball
video.
camp.
Well,
Maybe, but no. I mean like a baseball camp, so kids that are hitting can get a real idea of what the strike zone is. And you know what I mean? Because
That's
you
a good
know,
point.
I was a kid that when I was playing, I could always hit, but I had poor plate discipline. I would swing at pitches in the dirt above my head. So to maybe have a robo that's like, oh, you know, this is the strike zone, and get more knowledge of it, it would have toned down my swing maybe when I needed it.
I
So yeah, I
mean,
like it on that level, but with the pros, who know, nah, man, nah. And to answer your question, no, the show has a human element option, and I use it, and I be striking out on pitches that are way out the zone. I be like, yo, you got to be kidding me. I'm gonna start taking screenshots of this shit. It's actually disrespectful. I think Angel Hernandez definitely has a hand in making this game. It's some of the sliders that I've seen called strike three is nuts. But yeah, I'd rather keep the game how it is in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm just gonna agree with you guys. Honestly, I think the human element is an easy fix, and it's gonna be the most simplest fix. Hire younger umpires. Like, make that a
that's
thing,
not very
because like make
inclusive of you.
younger. Like,
Bang
I don't
bang.
mean to be prejudiced, but you know we have these old guys who are watching pitches, and as you know in today's game, pitches are faster. They're watching these pitches at literally like a blink of an eye, and
My
they just can't stop
glaucoma
fucking up the game.
Yeah, half these motherfuckers
have
had
two umpires behind the plate.
need
Um,
Two
LASIK eye
umpires behind the
surgery.
plate.
2 umps.
It's
Both
good. It's
sides
about
of
Well,
it.
to.
you
They
said
both
two
concur.
two umps behind home plate.
Like, what if they disagree? What happens then? I'm just saying.
Oh, nah.
I also
Third
think
and first, they both
you know
point
what?
to third and first, and then they go from
We're
there.
gonna have the Spider-Man meme in baseball games. You know that, right? They're gonna be like,
Yeah, it's gonna be like all 6 umpires.
I feel like if you,
oh my god.
if you continue down this road, it's just gonna become like replays of balls or strikes, and that's gonna just slow down the game that's already very slow. So
Well, I was thinking about that in general. Is that it's not that you don't have to add robot umps into the game to actually be like in place of an umpire, but just add the robot umps into the game to actually help the game. Be like, oh, you know, here's data after a game, or when you're doing a review, you know, add in, hey, tell the umpire, by the way, this call at first is safe, but also there's 3 calls he missed. Just a heads
I like
up.
that.
Like
you keep the
Like,
you
maybe
keep the
give 'em
umpires
some-
accountable,
or,
keep the
how
umpires
about this?
accountable for their
every
shit calls.
3 innings, the umpire gets an update from like the MLB and say, "Hey, you have
I love
3
that.
missed calls. Your strike zone's too wide tonight." That would
I like
I just
that's-
you know
What
what?
idea.
I'm down with
That's
that
a great
idea.
idea.
Yeah.
That is a
Every
great
idea.
like
That's good.
few innings,
You
they
keep-
give an update
Yeah.
and tell him what he's done wrong so far, robotically or whatever the hell.
By
you
the
wanna say, like.
5th inning, there should be a report for that. But yo,
Fifth
yo,
inning.
like-
I don't know
There
if
you
it
go.
should
Like
be.
maybe even once a game.
I like every
I
3
think-
because it's 9 innings. You just do it every 3. And
But
there you
here-
go.
yeah, yo,
Yo, to
Thomas.
tell you the truth, that's a fire idea. Like I'm so
could
down with
incite
that.
some riots,
once
though.
a game.
Every
Nah, but
3
real
innings,
quick,
you could
Thomas.
incite some riots.
What if
Yeah,
though?
I like that. The 5th
we-
inning is perfect.
What if the robot umps though have like automated messages that come out to batters like after they start talking shit to the robot?
Like what? You've got mail.
Why did you target me for that?
You're hitting 210. Get the fuck out of my
Bro,
face.
I literally left my
Your
room
batting
because of
average
the
has
two
dropped
umpire jokes.
.003 points.
All right, guys.
Please, remove.
I wanna segue into a more serious topic. As you guys know, Fernando Tatis obviously got suspended by baseball for 60 games, and I kind of want to dig into that. I'm gonna lead off on it. So bear with me with this take. It's gonna, as you guys know, it always takes a whirlspin.
Story time
honestly,
with Tommy Boy.
First and
I love it.
foremost, I mean, like it's sad for baseball.
I'll get locked
It's
in.
definitely sad for baseball. I mean, I'm not
I'm
not mad at him for taking steroids. I'm just real mad at the carelessness of the whole situation. Like, you know, you're literally the face of MLB or one of the faces next to, you know, probably Shohei. And that's exactly kind of what you do. And it's sad. I mean, we're at the point of steroids right now where the people who get popped for it, it's just like, why? Why?
Why?
How? Like, what are you doing? It's brainless. And like his explanation, like there's already like two different explanations. One from his dad that said he was putting something in his hair, and then the ringworm. And honestly, for me, it's like just say you wanted to not be injured anymore. That's just like, okay, what? All right, you fucked up. But before I like dig too deep into that though, like I think that a lot of this it's MLB's fault. I think a lot of it is definitely MLB's fault. And what I mean by that exactly is we see this a lot where these young stars are really, really hyped up before they really prove too much. And what I exactly mean by that is think about someone like Yasiel Puig, Yoenis Cespedes, Joey Gallo, Bryce
Rick
Harper. And when
Ankiel.
I say Bryce Harper, I'm talking about Bryce Harper before he won his MVPs, when he was literally hated by the entire league of MLB.
At 15, 16.
It's MLB, right? And it's MLB like picking these guys, driving them all the way to the moon before they really accomplish anything. Like like I said, winning an MVP or winning a championship or really having that one season where they really like put their name in history books. But like for example, on Tatis, he was injured doing a split in year one. In year two,
Oh,
he
yeah, that was
underperformed
wild.
in the playoffs in that division series versus the Dodgers, a series that was very hyped, a lot of spotlight. And then last year, let's look at last year. I mean, he could not, they couldn't figure it out at the end of the year and literally fell apart. And he basically became a huge liability in the field because he didn't get his shoulder worked on. And then they had to kind of move him all over the field. And then he just shows up to spring training this year and is just like, hey guys, I was in a motorcycle accident. And then now he's popped for PEDs. And that's one whole season of his career that's now gone because of his carelessness. And honestly, on the Padres end, it sucks for them. They just didn't. How long ago did they extend him?
This
last
in
year?
the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
I
He's
mean,
gonna
I
be last
can't.
he's only been up for a couple years. It's not.
I can't. I can't
last
blame
winter.
them for extending him. They're trying to establish a culture finally after so many horrible years, which I appreciate their aggressiveness. It's much like the Rams of football. But if
Yeah,
you
right.
have Manny Machado yelling at you and telling you that it's not about you, there's some real issues there.
Without
You
the
have Manny
bonnet on.
Machado, the guy
Dude.
that makes it all about him. He's telling you that it's not about you. That
Manny
that
Machado
speaks
has-
volumes.
Manny Machado's basically been a role model since he's came over there,
Yeah.
which is crazy to say.
For sure.
He's
Ever
been a
since he
rock.
got that contract and that money, dude. He's pulled him aside, said you can't do this. All these other guys are calling him out. Yo, I understand. You had the motorcycle accident. You're young. You got your contract. Your head's a little bit big, but dude, what the hell are you doing?
Like I said, I think overall in the longevity of his career, he's gonna be okay. At least that's my hope, because
I
he
hope
got
so,
popped for
dude.
steroids at a very young age, so he still has a whole entire career ahead of him that he can kind of turn the tide and still make a Hall of Fame career, in my opinion. But it's a horrible look. It does not change the fact that it is a really horrible look. Again, it's the carelessness for me. This team and the entire sport and almost the entirety of the fan base gave you the keys. We're like, Tatis, we want you. You are the guy, and here we are now. Honestly, but if he becomes a villain though, like an A-Rod type villain, I'll be here for it. I'll be here for it.
I think
I'll
he's.
be here for it.
I think he's
I
already
can
kind of
see
in that vein,
happening.
because he kind of plays
Yep.
both ends of it. He's beloved. Kids love him. The young fans love him. And then he still wears the villain cape because the old guard isn't too thrilled with his antics and
Oh yeah, I
stuff
bet
like
you Tony
that.
La Russa was like, yeah, fuck that guy, yeah.
Yeah, well, he would have had him had it not been for a certain trade. That's neither here nor
But
there.
yo, Chris, what's your take on the Tatis situation, Chris?
I just think the shittiest part was not only the dad's response, but the fact that like they made up. I mean, it's not elaborate, but you made. I mean, let's not say it's made up because we don't want to assume anything. But the drug he used, it wasn't even from the United States. It wasn't prescribed to him. Maybe you have some sort of defense if you actually went to an American doctor, had, or even the team doctor. They were like, here's what we're going to prescribe you for the ringworm. So I mean, ultimately, it was on the ban list. I think I read as well that it was a spray. I think it's just, like you guys said, it's just pretty shitty for the sport because he is such a big figure. I mean, he was on the video game last year, was it? I don't really play MLB The Show. You guys would know better than me. He was on the cover,
Yeah, he was on the
right?
cover last year, right?
I
Well,
think it was last year.
Yeah.
last
I
year or
think
the
it
year
was
before.
last year.
Yeah.
No,
So,
I'm pretty sure it was last year.
it just sucks because, it also sucks for the Padre fans because, you get Juan Soto. Everyone's hyped about Juan Soto, and then, you see what Tatis was doing in AAA. He had the double and the triple in the same game. The next storyline is he gets popped for steroids. So I guess it's, just goes back to last week's episode where we talked about steroids and how it is detrimental for the game. So, ultimately you do the crime, you pay the time. 80 games. See you later. See you, Padres. At least they didn't trade Kim, I mean, I think that's a good sign because he is playing better this year. You laugh, but look it up. Fact
It's
check
honestly,
it.
it's a very fair point.
They're lucky they did everything they did
And
with
he's a
Soto.
really good
and
defender.
He's
all
not
the
hitting,
players.
but his glove has been he might win Gold Glove this year. Kim has been
He's
that
in 250 though.
steady in the field.
He's in 250.
Oh, he is. He must have just got hot.
250, honestly, and this year, you would be surprised how many people have horrible averages. Like 250 is honestly the new decent and not the new
270.
mediocre.
He's in a lower
250
pressure
is now
spot.
350.
He's
No,
in
no,
the 8 or 9 hole. So, I think he was terrible last year though. Kim was terrible last year, But this year, if you look at some of his game film, he's not striking out as much. He's making more contact with the ball. So, that's the big increase. And also, like you said, I want to say that he's top 5 shortstop in terms of defense this year. So,
I guess I got to talk about it, right? I was going ballistic when he got suspended. I was mad as hell, but now that some facts have gotten to me and I had time to sleep on it, yeah, man. I mean, y'all pretty much alluded to it, but I got to put my own stamp on it. Yeah, you can't just go out willy nilly to your whatever pharmacy in DR and just grab anything and put it in your head, like, and then that's not the, get to the. Can't really get into the whole third world country pharmaceuticals and all that, but he's a professional athlete. And I think it's been hammered home. I think Mike Clevenger was more, stern than anybody. He was like, yo, the kid got to
That
grow
was
up.
that was honestly, yeah, that was very telling. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly,
Like,
with the
all
way
people-
with the way a lot of the
Of all
Padres
people.
reacted, I honestly feel like this organization is like if
They
Tatis
know
doesn't
something we
come back
don't.
swinging the bat, I feel like he's gone.
well,
They're on the edge, man.
I don't think he's gone, but I will put it like this. They brought in Soto for Tatis. I mean, and Machado, and I can see a scenario where if he doesn't hit, like maybe 2-3 years down the line, not right away, but if he doesn't hit and play like we grown accustomed to, and this stuff is still going on, I think the Padres would start fielding calls. I'll put it that way. But at this point, the only way they do that is if they re-sign Soto, because you're not just going to leave the cupboard bare for an aging Machado and whatever's left. But you would have to re-sign Soto if you would even consider trading Fernando Tatis. So I guess it's a player by ear situation. I love the kid. I think he's the absolute number one position player in the league. If he could, for God's sake, play 162 games. I don't even ask for that no more. I'm like, give me 150, 140, something in that range. But Yeah, man, I can't defend, but I can't keep defending this kid. Like, even when I was in the group text going nuts, I wasn't even thinking about the motorcycle accident. Right, that just was lost on me. Now I'm like, all right, I gotta come back and calm it down. Like, the kid got to get it together. He got all the talent in the world. Um, yeah,
What do
there's no
you
excuse for that. The only thing I don't like is that 80 games is that's steep. That's steep, and I think that's
I
baseball's
was
guilt
just
for what happened in the past.
Well,
and that's funny that you mentioned
here's
that because I was literally about to say like, how do you feel about like 80 games? Like that's a long time.
That's
Yeah.
baseball's guilt for what happened in the Clemens, and that's the guilt of baseball doing that. Because look at basketball, when guys get popped, for steroids. What I think DeAndre Ayton got hit with a diuretic, 25 games. I mean, in the 82 game schedule,
it's
that's a
something.
bit. Rashard Lewis, when he got hit, I think it was 15 games. That's about 1/5, 1/6, at most 1/4 of a
Yeah, because
season.
I think
So
Yeah,
yeah, I
we're
think
correct.
talking about a half.
John Collins got popped with Aiton. Yeah.
Well, here's something for
Yeah.
you, Ricky. Then I guess even Sax and Chris and all you guys to bounce off of. Knowing what Tatis did now, if you knew that going back, say 6, 8, 10 months ago, or even the year when he signed his contract, say the day he signed his contract, would you still give him that 34 mil, or excuse me, 340 mil for the time he was, knowing he's going to do PEDs in the next 2 years?
Yes. He's that damn
Or
good. He's
or would
that
you have
damn good.
waited and then, like, obviously no one's going to ever know that happened, but do you think now, like, even, I guess almost a better way to put it, are they hindered by it? Do you think they feel bad that they did it? Or you're
I
like,
think
no, no problem. I still think it's worth it all.
I think what scares me the most is the immaturity before even the steroids, because that remains to be seen. If you know what I mean, injuries heal, bodies can flush themselves with steroids and become natural. You know what I mean? But have you grown
Yep.
up? That he's 23. He's a baby. I don't. We won't. I won't know. I won't know until
Yeah.
we won't know until
I
time.
Me,
I feel like
I would take the position that Wolfie was gonna say. Like, I would probably wait and see how this all shakes out because this isn't over. Like the Tatis saga isn't over. He's still like we're gonna get like the him coming back parade. We're gonna get the him playing his first game back parade. We're gonna get all that. He's still gonna have all the media attention. So we're gonna see how he
You know
reacts
what?
to it because you know he's gonna sit there and he's gonna get asked so many questions about this when he comes back. Like, oh, hey, what do you feel like you have to prove? Like, hey,
They're gonna
what do you
drill
feel
him.
like you got to do? They're gonna be coming after him. So it's a good
That's a
test. But I
lot of
will
pressure
say,
coming back, man. That's a lot of pressure.
You know
I
what?
would
Maybe I
sign
don't
him
give
to
him
the
that contract.
extension. I would sign him to the extension after seeing him come back. But honestly, I think Juan Soto, that trade might be the best for Tatis because we see Soto and he's a great representative of the league. He's just an eccentric kid like Tatis, but he's very humble and he's very, he does. I don't know. I'm just
I think he's
disappointed by the Tatis
100%
situation,
more
man.
baseball. I think he's more baseball than Tatis. I think Tatis got a taste of the camera,
That's what
and
I said, and
I
that's
think
that.
he.
That's exactly my point that I made was that like he like
I mean, which is nothing
MLB and
wrong.
the
We on
Padres
camera
gave
right
him a
now.
lot of they gave him a lot of push. But yo,
Yeah, the
Wolfie,
thing
what's
was they
your
didn't even have to give him that money too. He had arbitration years. They did not have to do
That's
that
why
deal.
I was. That's why I said I would have waited because you got time, just like the Nationals had
Yeah,
time with Soto, but we traded him. But yeah,
nah, they
Wolfie,
knew
what's
what was
your
coming.
what's your ultimate opinion, Wolfie?
Well, my ultimate opinion is kind of like what we've all been talking about too. Is that like I'm really disappointed in him, is because he signed the contract going in. He had that motorcycle incident, which beforehand that already was like a big thing because you knew the Padres were kind of going into it. They were trying to go for it last year, had a disappointing season.
So much hype
Guys
before he got hurt.
underperformed. Dude, they had like Darvish and Musgrove and Snell, and they were going for it. Even this year, they were going for it too. They even went out and got Soto. Dude, we even talked about having Tatis come back and Machado come back. So to do that, what he did already, with the hype he had, with the amount they put into him to actually say that, hey, we trust you enough to give you $1/3 billion to be our
Mad
shortstop for the
guapo.
next decade. I mean, we're talking about the Padres. They're putting him on the face of the map. Everybody knew about Tatis. You guys even said it. He's on the face of a video game. He hasn't even been in the league for 4 to 5 years, and he was a national superstar. Has a motorcycle incident, and there was kind of some shade around that too, where they didn't really know if, like,
He showed up
he
with the
was-
injury.
Dude, it seemed like he didn't give a you-know-what, like a rat's ass about it. Like, he was like, I'm sorry about it, but, I'm going to get better. July, August going to come around, I'm going to be back. July, August come around, and all of a sudden, there's a PED scandal. Like, are you shitting me? Chris, you even said it. Like, exactly the same thing. Are you shitting me? Like, a PED scandal, and then you're saying it's ringworm. You went to here and there to get the medicine. You got family members trying to step out and defend you. Like, dude, like, I get you're young, but you're talking about being one of the, like, the best best paid players in the league, and you're
On this
getting
planet.
popped for PEDs. And, like, dude, Soto's been in the league since he's been basically a teenager, and he isn't doing stuff like that. It's like, it's unacceptable. Honestly, it's unacceptable. Like, there's
I
guys
can't
that do
trust a
PEDs.
DR until they just start fixing these BBLs on these chicks at the club.
Dude, let's just say this. All right, if that's the case, you know what? Honestly, it's fine. Put him back in the league. No, like, honestly, I actually am more upset with this than Robinson Cano, because
Oh, no way.
No, I am, because listen, because like
Robinson's
Robinson
a
Cano.
I know, but Robinson Cano was like the ultimate good guy though. Like Tatis, he was like you.
No, but like, dude,
but
like,
Cano was like the ultimate. Like we thought this guy was like just. Jesus.
that's what. Dude, we're talking about the next superstar doing PEDs at 23 years old. Like, this is like a story. This is a story. This isn't something that like, dude, Soto does it. Judge is a little bit older, but like, Soto and that younger
the world
doing
fucking
it.
ends. The world
Dude,
ends if
this
one of
is
those.
not
two,
good.
Like,
No, ain't that
This
good
is
a guy.
not good. I'm sorry. Like, whether he did it for like ringworm or not, like, it's not good.
Cano ain't that good of a guy. Ask a Yankee fan, yo.
No, but that's
As
what
a
I'm
Yankee
saying.
fan,
But
how many
back
times
when
he
he
grounded out
played
the second
for the
and-
Yankees, he was just this ultimate humble, like guy that just fielded really smoothly and cracked the ball. And
I guess
Yeah,
even like
quiet
Wander
cockiness, man.
Wander Franco might be another example. That's kind of like a younger guy that got a bigger contract. Where if he did it, that would be kind of a little bit. But it's not like a Tatis. Tatis is like a face. Like Shohei maybe is in that other boat, but like,
So,
dude, it's
my last
kind of hard to
opinion,
describe. But
my last opinion
Mm-hmm.
on the whole Tatis thing is, a part of me feels like MLB and the Padres maybe knew this beforehand. And the reason why I say that
hot
is
take,
because
hot take.
I don't know if you guys saw the story, but the Padres were the only ones willing to meet the Nationals' demands for the trade. The whole league, like, agreed that the Nationals' demands were a little bit too much, but the Padres were the only ones to say, I don't give a shit, give me that man. Maybe a part of that was desperation because they lost Tatis, but they know that they still have a really good team that could compete, and they went and got Soto. And then they know that Tatis will come back, obviously, so they have, they didn't really need the prospects if they're looking to continue on. At the same time, if they did know, that's crazy, and it would also make sense as to why this story is not that publicized because they're going to try to save Tatis.
I'm not saying it's. I would agree with you. I'm not saying that
It's not a
they
bad
knew
theory.
I don't
It's a
know if they
theory.
knew the ruling.
That makes sense.
I mean, they were the only ones that were fiending for Soto. Like, everyone else was like, I don't know, we don't really want to give up that much. But the Padres
Everybody
were like,
left the
take
crap
everybody.
table. Everybody left the crap table. It was
Because
just San Diego
Mike Rizzo
thing.
said that he sat there and he was like looking through everything, and the Padres were just like, no, give me him. What do you want?
Yeah.
They
Mhm.
knew. They could have knew. Oh, even if they didn't know about the PEDs, though, they might have just been worried about his injury and his antics in general. They might have thought, like, hey, he comes back. Maybe he's not good when he comes back, and we want to win now.
But-
we have Machado. Like, we got to go.
But it's just
Yeah.
significant to me that like the moment he was getting ready to return, because as you guys said, he was playing in the minors, he was looking fine, ready to go. That very moment he was ready to get called up and come back, this came out.
I would say that
Mm.
I don't think it's
It
necessarily
was
like they
big
knew the
news.
ruling, but they had to have known that, the investigation was going on prior to, trading for Ron Soto. Because,
Yeah.
Mm.
how long does it take for the data, how long were they looking into it? Was it dating back to 3 months ago? Was it dating back to a month ago? So,
Mm-hmm.
they probably did have an idea that at least the investigation was going on before, not saying they knew the absolute ruling, but, you know, it just
Like, yo,
sucks.
MLB about to send my man up north. Yo, please, I need Juan Soto right now.
It's the same thing as like when the Astro scandal came out and everybody knew about it beforehand, like the MLB did, but everyone was like sworn to secrecy until after the season. I don't know if you guys saw
Mm.
that article, but that was a thing. Like that's why the Nationals were like hiding their
I need to
signs and shit.
find that. Yeah, I need to
Yeah, like
find that one.
Steven Strasburg and I want to say Jan Gomes had to literally change their entirety of their signs on the spot so that like the Astros couldn't do anything about it. I was like,
Jesus.
yeah. And then like there's just like articles here and there that just state like, yeah, like everyone knew the Astros were about to like get something. Like
They
people
out
knew
there
that they were
changing
cheating.
hefty bags in their trash cans and shit. Yeah, I've seen a few
Um,
arguments over the Houston Astros where pitchers had to be like this with their catcher. Like, yo, what the fuck is going on, man?
They would like go up to the mound, put a blanket over each other, and they're like, "Yo, you see this shit? Are you kidding me?"
Yo, I hear a garage band, yo. What is that noise? Like, that shit is bugging me out.
Now my biggest question that comes from this though is does this give the Dodgers, Wolfie, does this give the Dodgers the NL?
Uh, I would say
They
yes.
running away with that shit. They out of here.
Let's just say this: the Dodgers are still like a powerhouse team. Like they're leading the division. They're like one of the best teams in the NL like overall when it comes to stats. They just are so clutch whether it comes to their roster. Granted, they actually did lose Walker Bueller, but you have a guy like Tony Gonsolin coming in and stepping up and being one of
Yeah,
the
that
best pitchers
sucks.
in the league. Like Will Smith, once again, we talked about rookies coming up. A rookie came up and he just is one of the most like solid catchers in the league, which in a league is scarce of catchers. That's good.
Best
They gave
offensive
a
catcher for sure.
They gave a 1 year deal to Justin Turner, and Ricky, dude, he might not have those stats that you could see on paper that are like jumping out at you, but when it comes to like clutch hits or RBIs, runners in scoring position average, he's one of the best in the league. It's like they have these guys that just come through. Joey Gallo's there, and all of a sudden he's doing things he hasn't done in like 2 months in the Yankees.
Real quick, Justin Turner is like my baseball equivalent to Manu Ginobili. Like, you know what I mean? Not no big numbers, but when it's crunch time, oh my gosh, yo, he's a terror. Go ahead,
Right?
man. My fault.
No, you're good. Dude. It's so true. Like their whole team's like that too. Even Cody Bellinger recently has stepped up.
He
Obviously
just
they
got
have
benched.
Mookie Betts.
Bellinger just
No,
got
dude.
benched for being in a slump.
Yeah,
Another
because
one.
they went out and got Gallup. But I'm saying if you look at his stats from like April to May to June, from July to August, you're like talking about like 150 average difference.
Oh
He
well,
went from
that is ginormous.
dude.
If
He
that you
went from
could even
like a
make a
one.
150 jump is terrible.
Dude,
I
I'm
agree
saying
with
no.
you
Like I'm
though.
saying, he went like from like
That's
100 and
even
like
physically
20 average to
possible.
like a 220 or like a 260 like
Well,
average.
yo,
Like Cody Bellinger, he started off in a slump to where he was hitting like 140. From
Yeah, he was
140, he
hitting
might have hit like 260, which
my first
average is
grade
still
class
like
number.
220. I'm not saying he's hitting 280, but I'm saying like the average between those, April to May from July to August averages out to about 220, which is better than like a 140.
there's just so many fucking
Yo,
numbers, man. Yo,
yo,
Chris, what do you?
I agree with you. I think the Dodgers are, if you look, just like you said, as if you look at the stats, they have the number one pitching staff. They're have Mookie Betts, they have Freddie Freeman, both have MVP candidate years, and they also have Tony, who's pitching better. He's on pace to pitch more games than he's pitched the last two seasons. He's 14-1 this year, so he's playing well enough. He's not going to give you 6, 7, 8 innings, but he's playing well enough where it's going to translate to the postseason, in my opinion. You know, he's going to give you 5 innings. He's going to give you 1 or less earned runs, hopefully. And, you know, he's going to put you in a position to win the game, which he's done all year. Again, he's 14-1. And, I mean, he's got a sub-9. He's got a sub-9 walk hits innings pitched. So, I mean, like, dude's doing everything right. He's not going to give you crazy strikeouts. He's not going to, you know, wow you, but he's going to get the job done. So I think it translates to the playoff season. And I think also what I saw is that Martin's been pitching pretty well since he's came over as well from the Cubs. So I think, you know, getting the bullpen stronger was one of their needs, and
That's right.
they already were a top 5 bullpen pretty much across all the big stats. And then you add Martin, who's kind of figuring it out. It's kind of, where are they weak?
Nowhere.
Yeah, let us know, Ricky. You think the
There
Dodgers
was
are coming
no
out?
reference of. None of y'all brought up Trigger Trey, man. Like that's, man. I think if you that's this team is a mush. They are really like Power Rangers, man. Forming freaking Megazord, whatever the hell that damn dinosaur thing he was. Somebody gotta help me out. Maybe one of these kids that watch that new shit. Anyway, we're gonna edit that. The fact that nobody's bringing up Trey Turner is just like crazy enough in itself. It's like, yo, they got 3 MVP candidates on that team. Their pitching staff goes about 4 guys that could be on the All-Star team. They lose Walker Buehler, and no one's batting an eye. No one, you're not gonna find no articles that's like, oh, are the Dodgers in trouble? They lose a Walker Buehler, and it's like status quo. They're gonna probably threaten a 120, as they should have last year, but they tailed off. They're, you know, we already know where this comes to when it's, you know, discussions about the Dodgers. Are they gonna perform in the postseason? You know, they're gonna just run through regular season baseball. I don't know how they do it, honestly. It's like they get up more for these dog days of summer years. I mean, summer times and whatnot. And then when it's time to go in October, maybe it's too cold. You know, maybe it gets a little chilly or something. I don't know what it is. But I'm just talking shit for the most part. They got 3 guys that could just go ham in any series and take over. And then their pitching is still elite. It's a lot to like. And with this news about Tatis, even with the Mets having their injuries, I felt like there was a chance, just last week, that we could have a 3-man race in who's going to come out the NL. But I'm starting to think we're going to get a Dodgers-Braves rematch. I think I think somehow the Braves are going to get in because as I say it before, I say it again. I always worry about the team that's getting hot now. You know, they didn't, you know, everyone seemed to be, you know, still having, you know, they still had a little champagne on the breath after winning the chip last year. And then my boy Ozzy Albies, he must have been doing the most drinking because he wasn't doing shit. And then he gets hurt. I'm like, all right, what the Braves looking like this year at the end? Are we looking at an 82-80 team missing the playoffs? And then here we go again. The kids carrying everything. And Acuna took one to straightaway center the other night, hitting the LeBron and everything. I'm like, if he starts to look like himself with what they got going on, their pitching, their bullpen is disgusting. Behind their starting pitching as well. Atlanta's looking like a threat again. I'm thinking it's going to come down to those two. We're going to see an NL rematch with those two.
Wow,
now
this is great.
I hope the Mets can, you know, right the ship around the end of the season. And I don't even like talking about rookie hitters. I'll talk about rookie any other sport. I don't like talking about rookies in baseball because I'm superstitious. I just want the kid Beatty to do well, and whatever version of well that means. Maybe it's just having great at bats, grinding pitchers. It don't even got to necessarily show up in the OPS or any numbers, but just that he looks good at the plate. Maybe, because I've seen many a kid come up and he'll have a bad batting average, but if you're seeing the kid play, he's hitting the ball, he's getting hard contact, and it's just going right into guys' gloves. So hopefully he just looks good. You know what I mean? Like, we're not asking him to carry your team or anything like that. But as far as that, yeah,
Well,
Dodgers, they don't look like they don't have much in their way right now.
I'm going to disagree with all of you. I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to regret it because every Met fan regrets themselves by the end of the year, and I'm not a Met fan, so I guess I get to feel
And
like
we're
one.
recording.
Because I'm going to say that the Mets, I think the Mets are going to come out of the National League, and here's why I say that.
Hope so.
And this is crazy for me to say. You watch Mets games and you can see it. There's just teams that like from just watching them. You can see the energy, you can see the hype, you can see the vibe. You got DeGrom back out there, and DeGrom looks like he's not slowing down. Max Scherzer, he's out there, leading the way. Edwin Diaz has a whole theme song now.
That shit is incredible.
He has a whole theme song now.
The
like
trumpets
the hitters,
are so good.
The
Even the
hitters
away
are good.
fans actually get into it.
Once the trumpets come on, I see nothing but just high heels spinning around.
You got Lindor. You got Lindor, really doing his thing this year. Finally, because last year was pretty scary. Because I'm a huge Francisco Lindor fan. But overall, I mean, you look at this team, and it's a team that just reminds me of the Nationals when we won. But I don't mean the record or anything, because obviously the Mets are doing way better at this point. But the Nationals, they had this vibe going in, which is why I was saying the crazy things that I was saying before going into that playoffs, that it just feels like a winner. It really does. It absolutely feels like a winner. The vibe is there. The people are there. I think the Mets also fixed the one thing that, has been bothering them the last few years, ultimately at the end of the day, and that's, their hitters being consistent. There was often times last season where the Mets fell flat on their face because they couldn't keep any consistency hitting. This year, it seems like they've righted the ship with that. So whatever the Mets did for that, I think that was huge and very underrated. The Dodgers, though, I mean, they can't really be denied. The Dodgers are the Dodgers, but at the end of the day, they always get beat by the team that has this kind of vibe. That's why they lost to the Braves. That's why they lost to the Nationals. That's why they lost to the Astros. It just seems like another one of those endings for the Dodgers this year. But like you said, Ricky, I can't deny the Braves. I mean, the Braves as well. I see a Mets and Braves NLCS. That would be wicked.
Yeah. That almost begs a question. Like, is there something about LA where they get beat by these teams? Is that the thing that they don't have? Or they just are they just a fantasy baseball team, a bunch of names? Or what are they in the clubhouse?
They don't get hot at the right time.
But there's difference between chemistry and then just having a bunch of really solid guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the chemistry. I just think they they're like most of these teams.
Do they though? I mean, like
games.
Freddie Freeman. I mean, he's swinging a good constantly. Bat, but
no, they're one of those teams that they think they're good. They know they're good. They're going to win 105 games every year, so they kind of go into the playoffs with the expectations were that good, and they don't try as hard as teams like the Braves, that just sneak in. And
honestly, that's a good point. That's a good point because the Nationals, every year that we got destroyed in the NLDS was because the NL East was really bad. Every single one of those times. And the Nationals went in up 20 games by the end of it, not playing their players, and then we would go in and just be slow, and it was
There's
bad.
a difference. There's a difference between teams, and this is in all sports, but definitely with the great teams and the good teams and the very good teams that end up winning championships. You got teams that will say, "Yo, we need to be ourselves to win. We're so good, all we have to do is be ourselves." I think the Dodgers fall into that. Whereas your Nationals or the Boston Red Sox that won that year, I don't remember. I don't care to.
Yeah, that's another team that beat the Dodgers, and they had all the hype, they had the vibe, they had everything.
their mindset is a little different. We have to be at our best. You know what I mean? They're not of the mindset of, oh, we just show up and be ourselves, then everything will work out fine. You hear a lot of that in post game banter. Oh, they drop a couple games. Oh, it'll be fine. You know, we get back to being ourselves. Blah, 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 blah. So sometimes y'all gotta reach for something beyond you, and I think that's what happens with a lot of these clubs that they come up against. They're like, nah, whoever my name is on the back of the jersey, I gotta be my best version of that to beat this
Yeah,
team. And the
my
Dodgers
my
don't take
last
themselves to that level because they believe
yeah,
they're there already.
my last point to the Mets is that they've gotten their injury bug. Like they've been down Max Scherzer and DeGrom, and the Mets have proven that they can keep up if that was to God forbid happen. But at the same time, they brought up Beatty with all these injuries, and he hit a home run in his first game today. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say the Mets here, and it sucks to say because fuck the Mets, but you know that's what we
I feel like
got.
the long ball definitely helps you in the postseason, though. I think. Well, we'll see how they do after they made their acquisitions with Vogue and Ruff and Naquin, where they finish as far as
I
home
could see
runs
Lindor
after the
becoming a
trade deadline.
fucking star this postseason, like more of
Oh
a star
yeah,
than he
yeah,
already
he's
is.
ready for it. He's ready for it. But Atlanta's third in home runs, and they calling up these other kids. I'm like, it's just something about that one mistake pitch in the postseason. We see so many 0-0 games that go into the seventh, and it's always that mistake pitch that turns the tide. You know what I mean? You don't see a whole lot of single walk double rallies in postseason. Usually just one mistake pitch and some guy just clocks it out, and that's your game. And if you got a dominant closer, that usually helps out. That's where the Mets would have an advantage. See, this is going to be interesting, man. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, I really
That's
don't
why I
know who's
said
going to come
don't.
out of Braves
I
Mets.
can't. I can't. That's why I said I can't chalk it up to just it's just the Dodgers and that's that. Like I
Yeah,
really
because
do. Like
in
Wolfie,
a
I'm
2-1
surprised you're not
game,
like making this
yeah.
argument too. Do you know something that I don't?
Oh, nah, I wish.
Just,
Like,
whoever can get hot is just gonna take it, in my opinion. It's just every year they even say it's so true. No, usually, whoever has the best record doesn't actually win the World Series. It's just who gets hot at
Cardinals
the right
are a
time.
dark horse, man. Like, I think they're
Oh,
also
absolutely.
thin.
Goldie and
They're a little,
Arenado,
they're,
absolutely.
I know.
If the
I wrote
Cardinals
them
make
top
any
heavy
You
the
gonna
noise,
last
count
time.
I'll
the Cardinals out?
Look, I didn't have them winning that last championship.
I mean, you can't ever count the Cardinals out, but like they're going to be in a race against the Braves and the Padres and the
Yeah, but
Dodgers
here's
and
the
the
thing: in the
Mets. Yeah,
playoffs,
I
everyone's
put them
0 and
fifth
0.
easily.
I was doing the same thing to y'all when y'all won the chip.
I
No,
I
mean, you
yeah,
did
got
the
Jordan
same
everyone's
thing
zero
to
and
Montgomery.
y'all.
zero, of course, but they're pitching. They're pitching. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they got Jordan Montgomery now, but okay, we're not going to talk about Jordan Montgomery before me and Ricky just start we start arguing
Mikey
again.
Molasses. Is that his
Um,
name? I always say Molasses. I could
Michaelis,
never
I
get his
think.
name right. Yeah, man. Adam Wainwright always turns into another human being when it's October. I always just trust Adam.
He's a
Give him the ball, get out the way. Like he's gonna get
He's
it, find
It'd
a
be
solid.
way to get
something
it
though.
done.
I mean, it's a good. The Cardinals are definitely a good story. I mean, they got Pujols, Wainwright, and Yachty going out together, get a ring together. I mean, that'd be crazy. But
It'd be a
all right,
nice
we're
story.
gonna take
But
this to break. We're gonna take this to break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. So a lot of good conversation so far. So I kind of want to start off another one. So AL MVP. There's a lot of people who think one way, think another way. Let's give our takes, Chris.
Paul
Who
Rose?
do you think, as of right now, is the AL MVP?
I gotta go with Shohei Ohtani because, I mean, the guy plays pitcher and he's improved year over year. He's top 10 in strikeouts. He's top 10 in ERA. He's top 10 in home runs. You look at the pitcher, like, I was looking at this article where it was Aaron Judge versus Shohei for the top two, right? And Shohei's pitching in one pitcher, and then the other pitcher, he's batting, right? If you look at Aaron Judge's, yeah, he's batting. And you know what he's doing in the other picture? He's pointing his finger to the sky. So I mean, like, if you penalize, I'm not saying you penalize Judge because he only does just batting and he does play the field.
Oh
I'm
my
not saying
God.
he's amazing in the field, but I'm just saying, like, as far as Shohei, like, you talk about face of franchise or face of the MLB with Tatis, like, Shohei is the face of Asia. He's the biggest thing in Asia since Ichiro, right? We can all agree there. You give him the back-to-back championship after this year, maybe you start to consider other people to get the MVP. But I think as far as like him being great at both this year and better at pitching, like, you talk about Judge doing something extraordinary this year. Every time Shohei takes the field, every time he takes the field and he's pitching and he's batting the same day, he's doing something historical every day. Where Judge is just doing it 1 year. Just saying.
I mean, all right. So listen, like Shohei is doing both things well still. He's doing them better than last year. He's sensational. He's truly gonna go down as one of the greatest, regardless. Like he can literally, again, God forbid, get injured tomorrow and not play another game again, and I would probably assume that he's a Hall of Famer. Um, but I can't deny Aaron Judge, and like the thing about Aaron Judge is that like it's not just home runs anymore. He's hitting the hell out of the ball. He's hitting damn near 300. I think he is hitting 300. He's still striking out, but he's walking a lot more. His base running has been underrated. He's playing a good defense. Like he's leading from the front despite all this contract stuff, all this Yankees stuff, all this you got to carry stuff. And the most interesting stat for me about Aaron Judge is that he has the most home runs in innings 7 through 9 in the league. The most home runs. On top of that, he has 4 walk-off hits. So he's single-handedly won them a lot of games. And these are all things that I, along with so many other people, said, like, if Aaron Judge improves this, it's going to elevate him to the next level. And that's exactly what we're seeing this year. And he's doing it all with the pressure on him already. The pressure to carry New York on his back, the pressure to perform, because we all criticize him. We all do. We all criticize Aaron Judge. And the pressure for his upcoming free agency, he's 30, so it's a tricky contract that you're going to have to talk to him about. But that's the pressure, and I think he's leaving New York, no doubt. But the most important thing is that he is the Yankees. He is New York. When was the last time that you could say one person was the Yankees? It's always been a fantastic big group of guys, but this is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is the New York Yankees, and they're a pretty good baseball team. I know they're struggling now, but that's another thing that should be a testament to Aaron Judge's MVP case is that when he isn't doing as good, the team sucks. The team sucks. They rally around him. And I can't take away from Shohei that he's on the Angels, but when you consider that Aaron Judge is almost single-handedly lifting the Yankees to like a whole different dimension and giving them, we still give them a chance against the Astros, and he's playing against Rizzo, or he's playing with Rizzo, who's hitting 220, having a very overrated year. Glaber isn't performing up to standards. Donaldson's hitting 220. Falefa and Trevino, they're all right, but like, DJ LeMahieu, he's not his normal self. The pitching doesn't scare anybody. I believe in their bullpen, but when Michael King went down, they still don't know who their closer is. And that's why I personally love the acquisitions of Bader, of Montas, of Benintendi, because they recognize they need more around Judge. I mean, I know, you can argue about the deals, but this guy he's the Yankees, and I truly think he's the MVP, and I don't want that to take anything away from Shohei, but you got to consider the whole entirety of everything, and not just he can pitch and he can hit.
I'm just going to say that last night Judge struck out 4 times, and he's actually under 300 now.
One game you could pull out.
I'm just saying.
Teddy LaBelle here just
could be
some Aaron Judge shit.
Could be the fall of the Yankees. I'm just saying. And maybe the rise of the Astros.
Where's your Aaron Judge voodoo doll in there? I know you
I'm
got
just
a
saying, I
It's the
just
one
don't
thing
like
that's
the
off
guy.
camera in the back
I
corner.
just don't
Yeah.
like. I
yeah
just don't
yeah
like guys who are
got a
Yankees.
reverse
We've talked about this before.
Oh,
Even
good.
even when
reverse
we were
throwing
prepping a few nights ago, we
trying.
talked about, they go from the Red Sox to the Yankees. They're just a Yankee. I'm just not a fan. Like if Judge went to the San Francisco next year, I would respect Aaron Judge. If he had a similar season next year that he has now with the Giants next year, I would say Aaron Judge is the MVP. But I'm just not gonna vote for the guy because he's a Yankee. I'm just saying.
All right, so
Well, one last
we're
thing
gonna
before you give
DQ
your
everything you
before
just said, and we're gonna turn it to
one
to
second, one
Wolf.
second.
No, go ahead. What happened? I mean, he did it to himself. I mean,
Go ahead, Wolfie.
what
Just go ahead.
DQ'd himself like Dairy Queen. Golly.
Do.
But okay, I'll say my last point here is that I said this to you guys the other day. I absolutely love the fact though that the media isn't focused on his free agency too much. Like obviously there's a little focus on it. I love that we're getting to enjoy the moment. We're getting to enjoy the Aaron Judge train that he's running on all these teams. All right, go ahead, Wolfie. You're up.
All right. I was gonna say though, I'm gonna piggyback off of you, and actually, I'm gonna go with Judge too as the AL MVP. And there's just so much with it. Is that with Otani? Don't get me wrong. He pitches. He's great. He hits. He's good with that too. But Judge is doing things like he's about to put up like a 60 home run season. He's about to have an OPS of like 1.0 throughout the whole season. He has a batting average close to 300 compared to Otani's, which is about 259. It's almost like a 30-point difference. Both of them are striking out at a high rate. I get that, but one guy's almost 10 feet tall. Also, too, I usually don't like to bring in the team with it, but you almost gotta like think sometimes Otani might not even be one of the best players on his team when Trout's healthy and producing. Judge is clearly the best player on his team. He's clearly one of the best players in the league. Like no one even thinks twice about it, especially when he's healthy, which he's been for 2 years, and he's hitting like he should be. Um, Also, too, I usually don't like to bring in the team with it, but you almost gotta like think sometimes Otani might not even be one of the best players on his team when Trout's healthy and producing. Judge is clearly the best player on his team. He's clearly one of the best players in the league. Like no one even thinks twice about it, especially when he's healthy, which he's been for 2 years, and he's hitting like he should be. Um, Also, like he brings such a vibe to New York. You said it too, Saxby. Like he's like a face of the Yankees. Within the first year, they had the judges' chambers in the Yankee Stadium. It's just with what he's doing, especially on a contract year, to bet on himself to get that money back. How could you not say he's one of the best players in the league? The best player in the league, which personally I think he is. Otani would need to pitch uh, to like a sub 3, close to 2 ERA with like a 280 batting average with like 40 home runs just to even come close to actually, in my opinion, having like a 300 average, 60 home run Judge season. And also too, let's not be you know naive to the fact that Judge not only went from right field to center field, but it's not like he was ever asked to be a pitcher or grew up being a pitcher in either the minors or in varsity college. Like, one guy was trained to do it, the other guy wasn't. So you're also kind of saying, oh, well, this guy's doing this. It's like, one guy's not even, like, attempting to do the other thing. I'm not saying he is going to be, like, a sub 3 pitcher if he ever did do that, but it's just kind of like a different story. So you got to look at it, what they do, and compare them, taking away the fact that one guy doesn't pitch or the one guy does, and it's kind of a weird situation. But I would say right now with the numbers one guy's putting up and how he's led his team, Judge is easy the MVP in my eyes.
I just want to say, you said Otani would have to be sub 3. He is sub 3 in ERA, and you said 40 home runs. He's got 27 this year, so he is on pace for both of those things. I also wanted to say that
Yeah, with a 259
he's got
batting average, though.
he's got 10 wins this year. The Angels have 51, so he's almost 20% of their total wins.
Yeah,
What was
I
that
don't
choo
like
choo
that.
train?
What's that?
That's
What was that?
it's my tractor.
Bro, you should see how
rolling
nervous I
along.
got.
Choo choo train.
It's a tractor.
I'm just saying, yes, Judge is having a great year. I'm just not voting for the guy if I had a vote. I just don't like the guy. He's a Yankee. Just saying. What about you, Ricky?
What
Who's your
about you,
MVP?
Ricky?
On the heels of that, right? You fucking. All right. So look, I've been waffling back and forth. Wolf, can you do me a solid? Can you
Yeah.
pull me up the 2021 Angels record? Yeah. Because I think, and I said on here when we did the introductions, who's your favorite player? I said it's Shohei Ohtani.
77 and 85, by the
Sure.
way.
77 and 85. All right. The man
Ouch.
went ballistic last year. He had 46 home runs. He struck out way more batters than he pitched innings. He just missed out on 10 wins last year with 9. He drove in 100 runs. He scored 100 runs. He stole 26 bases. Where did that come from? And beasted out and won MVP on a 77-win team. This team is playing worse than last year. And Ohtani, as much as I love him, he's not. I mean, he would have to really pick up the pace to get 46 again. I mean, I think we could earmark him at 35, maybe. Maybe he could clip over 40.
I'll see 40.
What's he at? 11 bags stolen right now. Maybe he gets in the 15, 20 range. I don't see him doing a lot of running at the end of the year when the team is already out of contention. Stolen bases. People who steal bases usually stop running when the team is losing. It's like I might as well pack it in for the rest of the year. The pitching has been incredible. He's been top 5 this year. If you got top 5 pitchers, we'll get into it later. But he definitely got to be in your top 5. But he's quite not himself at the plate, other than the fact that he's also striking out less. I do like to see that. He's still striking out, but he's striking out less. About as much as Judge. So if you want to make a strikeout argument, you got to look at him too. Anyway, yeah, Yankee hate aside, whatever. I've been, back and forth with this argument myself about, Shohei and Judge. And, to keep it brief, Shohei's been, outstanding as usual. Slight down year as far as some of the power numbers, the peripheral, whatever, but he's pretty much the same guy at the plate. He's making better contact. He's making a lot of loud outs. That's why it's not reflecting on the batting average. But Wolf at one point had alluded to, well, he had let me know because I had asked him what their record was last year when he won the MVP. And it was 77 and 85. And I'm like, they're on pace to lose way more games than that. So I'm like, how do we reward a year where the star player is, I'm nitpicking. I can't say slightly down because his pitching is improved. Okay, he's playing the exact same on a team that's doing worse. And now we have a clear-cut historical candidate, someone that's threatening records and hollowed franchise records at that. I don't know a lot of. Yeah, please bring that up. Clean too,
Clean as a
and
whistle.
yeah, like just show me the piss. I'll buy it off you. If it's bad,
Cheers. It's clear as water.
If it's tainted, I'll buy it. I'll make sure it won't see the light of day. But whatchamacallit? Yeah, man. Like I can't remember the last time I seen a 6'7" human play center field. Like, and not only that, a 6'7", 270 man play center field. Like that had to be physically taxing in itself. Yes, I'm glad we got Bader. Hopefully he gets out there soon enough so he could go back to right field. But he did an admirable job for us out there. Um, I thought it was going to be an absolute disaster. Um, so, we all talk about pace. I would say this, and I'll be fair. I'll be fair. And I don't like being fair, honestly, because the Angels are trash. They don't deserve to have a back-to-back MVP on a team like that. It doesn't make sense. You can't quantify what a most valuable player is on a team that bad, because how many wins is he giving this bad team? You know what I mean? So that's always been a difficult thing for me. But what I will be fair about is if Judge finds a way to, if he seems like he's tailing and Otani starts really descending, I mean, like, goes nuts this last few games, like hit like 350 or something like that, and threatens his 40-45 home run mark that he hit last year, and all these other things. If he could reach these other benchmarks like runs and RBIs, and I think then it has more of a more weight to the conversation. What Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did last year, which was the other AL candidate, was amazing, but we can somewhat put it in its place. And, there's not a lot of people that put historical context around it, other than he had one of the greatest seasons for his age. But where it lands, it's like, how many people remember it? How many people are going to remember that Vlad season? If Aaron gets 60, that's going to be something they talk about in New York and baseball history for. I mean, when this man is long gone, they'll be talking about this season. So that's my only thing.
I mean, you bring up
Well,
wins.
not my only thing, but many of.
If we're talking about wins and like what a player means to their teams in terms of wins, you could easily talk about Jordan Alvarez or Justin Verlander. Look at Verlander; he's 40, right? He's 40 and he's got a sub-2 ERA this year. Why isn't he your MVP?
Because I'm not giving him MVP. He pitches. I barely got him. I barely got him as my Cy Young. So that's another thing. Yeah, there's
I would say,
a man
honestly,
in the South Side doing his thing.
he has a good shot though, because the thing is that when I think of MVP, also even just the flip side to the NL, even with Scherzer and DeGrom, whether they're a pitcher or not, you got to think about the guy that's going to give someone the most chance to win, or they could win. While it is hard for pitchers to win the MVP because of the fact they only pitch those 5 days, dude, you're talking about like an easy like 15 to 20 wins a year that guy's almost going to guarantee you. Like if right now we almost flipped side to the NL MVP from like say like a year or two ago, you're talking about pitchers being like some of the top guys. Granted, Paul Goldschmidt, Alonso Machado are hitting 330 this year, which is pretty rare in baseball to actually even hit above 300, let alone have 4 to 5 guys that are racing for it. But when you have Verlander at the age of 40 pitching to a sub 2 ERA with strikeouts galore, wins and a nice whip. Dylan Cease is actually there too. I want to say that he's got
the best whip in the league, I believe.
Yeah, and within a .10 ERA, so he's also there too. Plus, like,
Dylan's been out of his mind, yo.
And the thing that's hard too when it comes to looking at the Astros with Verlander is that they have guys like Tucker and Bregman and Jordan. But even if they didn't have like a guy like Jordan on their team, you could still make the argument they would be in first place in that division, or at least racing for it. And a guy like Verlander would be leading them through that division, so he would make even almost a better candidate for MVP at that point. So to say he's the clear cut when Judge is doing, like you said, historic numbers that'll be talked about from whether you're a Yankee fan or not, to say that Verlander should be, 100% pushed to the side, he's at least in the top, five to 10 mix. Definitely in the top 1 to 2 pitchers for AL MVP candidate. And
I don't
definitely
know.
Cy Young.
It's definitely Verlander versus Cease. That's where I got it. But I mean,
Absolutely.
15 straight outings with what is this, with 1 run or less until the other night when they faced
Yep.
off. They both gave up 3 runs. I mean, Dylan, man, I just feel bad because we all thought that he was going to have like a top 5 offense with these White Sox. And I mean, you just look at almost every contributor across the board, they haven't gotten it. Like, it's sad. It's sad. The kid should be
I don't know.
threatening
I
20
mean,
wins this year.
From all their
I
guys.
like I I like Dylan Cease, but I mean that there's just no denying Justin Verlander for me. And then in regards, I think he'll get, honestly, he might get a top 5 MVP finish because when you look at the stats, Verlander has the stats, and then on top of that, you can also say he's leading that Astros rotation as well to success. I mean, that Astros rotation, there was a lot of questions coming into the year, and they're all balling. Javier, he's having a really good season. You get McCullers back, that's more, of a rally. Garcia, he's pitching well as well. And you got Urquidy as just the solid guy that just does his job.
Framber Valdez
Verlander
doesn't get
is,
enough love too.
yeah,
Yeah, he's been
and
solid.
Verlander's like it's stupid. He's like how old again? Coming off of Tommy John surgery, coming out and
Smooth
doing some
59.
39.
historical shit. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
dude,
39.
39, coming off of Tommy John surgery. It should have been over. His career
I
should
don't
be
give
cooked,
sympathy awards though.
and here he is.
I,
I mean, but
I,
at the same time, like when I look at an MVP argument, it's you got to consider the whole story, which is why I gladly agree with Otani over Guerrero last year because we had never seen that before. This year, I
mhm.
mean, we've seen it, and why I say judge is because like we've seen Otani. Now, what can you inspire on your team? And I'm not saying he inspires nothing, but I mean the Angel. It's like what Ricky says. It's just hard to judge because like the Angels suck really bad, and Shohei is really good, but at the same time, Judge is lifting up New York, and then it's the same thing. It's like Verlander's lifting up this Astros rotation. So I definitely agree with you guys. I can see him getting some votes.
What if you swapped Shohei for Judge? What team has the better year?
Oh, I
Trout,
mean, the Yankees are
considering
going to have
Trout
a
is
better.
still the same Trout he's been this year.
Yankees are going to have a better team regardless.
Well, we would have to also put a lot into consideration when you say that, and that the stress levels are a lot more. The pressure's a lot more. We've seen Otani at first with his pressure. Um, I'm not gonna say the Angels have a better year because they just
Wait, wait,
suck.
wait, wait. Are you saying that Otani is a small market guy who wouldn't live up to the big city lights?
I mean, it was like this is what year 6 for him, year 5. I mean, it took him a little bit to get to this point,
At least
and a
4.
lot of that could have had to do with the pressure that he was facing. I mean,
Someone's
it's really
injury.
hard to be a catcher or a pitcher and a hitter. It's hard to do that and do it really well. And again, but like this year, it's like you just unfortunately have Judge that's just lifting the entire Yankees organization. I've honestly never. It's crazy. I've never seen that before. Like for a team like the Yankees, that's always stacked, always monstrous, always like up there. It's been a while since we've seen that one person. All right, and we're back. We lost Ricky for the time being because, Shohei Ohtani showed up to his house. He was heartbroken. How can I be your favorite player? And you say, I'm not the MVP. I'm not doing much. All understandable. So enjoy this nice picture of Ricky in an Angels hat while we while we close this. So I want to play a similar game like we played last week, how we did real or fake. But we're gonna call this lucky or no, and we're gonna go through 5 World Series winning teams. So The first team that we're gonna talk about is the 2015 Royals.
I'm gonna say not lucky, or I'm gonna say not lucky. They were real, because they they had the youth that brought up. Like they had Kane, they had Hosmer. Those were all guys that they brought up. They had the best record in the AL, and they made a good signing in Morales, who had one of his best seasons. You could say it was his one of his prime seasons. Hit almost 300. I mean, they were the best team in the AL.
And I'm gonna bounce off of that and say they were lucky. Not even just being a Mets fan, but if you actually look at their team, like Hosmer and Kane, Moustakis, and all these players, did they have a great season that year and maybe even the year before or after? Sure, but that was pretty much their peak. They worked on their peak. They went all the way to the World Series with that peak. But after that, they pretty much dismantled, and the guys went back down to the players that they actually are. So with the Royals, I'm definitely gonna say they were lucky that year.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to agree with Wolf here. I mean, I think it was a nice little baseball team. Like it was honestly for me, it was cool to see guys like Johnny Cueto, Alex Rios, especially Alex Rios. I love that guy for no reason at all. Salvador Perez, and the bullpen was a beauty. The bullpen was fun to watch. Their bullpen, like I don't want to say it carried them through, but their bullpen was definitely huge. And overall, it was nice to see the Mets lose. I mean, that was very embarrassing for the Mets. And for what it was a really nice Cinderella, once in a lifetime story. Like it was like like a small market team making it big. And they honestly, they ran their path there was a young Astros team. It was a very, very beat down Blue Jays team because if you guys remember, the Blue Jays were really out for blood that year. They were dangerous, and they got banged up at the wrong time. And then the Mets were the Mets. They just did their typical Mets thing, and I see this as a World Series that the Mets lost more than the World Series that the Royals won.
I don't know, man. The Royals, they were number. I'm just saying they had the best record in the AL that year. So they were. I would say, that would say that they were the most consistent. But
That was such a weird
The,
year,
the
wasn't
Royals were lucky, which I think they were, but the
it?
Mets were just beyond lucky.
I'm not. I would just say,
Mets had a
they.
good team.
To your point, Murphy, I would agree. They did a lot of those players did overperform for what they did in comparison to other years. But you know, is it luck, or is it a combination of chemistry and you know
Chris, you know what it is?
getting hot at the right time?
That's baseball, Susan.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. So the 2019 Nationals, lucky or no?
The Nationals 2019, definitely lucky. Let me tell you why. I think I think the Astros got caught cheating. Caught 3 months later, they got in trouble for all the suspensions and everything, right? In January of 2020.
Yeah, but
So
that story came out like 5 days after the Nationals won. I was salty.
yeah, but like think about it this way. You talked earlier about other things being fixed. They didn't include 2019 in that report because they didn't want to diminish like what the Nationals did. And I'm not trying to say, well, maybe I am trying to say that the Nationals got lucky because they faced them that year. But I'm just saying, a little fishy how, the Astros, they get the punishment 3 months after the series is over, and I don't know, just one of those
Yeah, like wasn't losing to
conspiracies.
the Nationals enough? No.
I'm just saying, like, it's kind of fishy because if the reporting said 2017, 2018, but it didn't say 2019, so they just stopped out of the goodness of their hearts. They just stopped cheating that year, or did they not want to take away from what the Nationals did? Just saying.
What do you think, Wolf? That's crazy.
Uh, See, I'm undecided on this, but overall, I am gonna go with the unlucky, or excuse me, I am gonna go with they were lucky. The reason I say that is because they do have players that actually were good, like Soto and Scherzer and Rendon, but they just didn't have enough to where it was like a powerhouse team compared to other teams in the league, whether it be the Dodgers or the Astros, like you guys mentioned, even the Braves, um, to where it just was one of those teams once again that just clicked. While I do think they were better than a team like the Royals, even maybe not as complete overall, but had that more star power, I still think they just clicked at the right time because if you looked at their team compared to other teams in the league, it was a matter of hot October baseball. Which doesn't mean they're not a good team at the time. Like I said, they had good pieces, but just overall, it was just a matter of luck at the right time.
And you know, you guys are going to be surprised when I say this, but I think I'm going in the middle with this, where I think it was both lucky, but it was also both, you know, skill. Because if you think about the players, you know, that are there, um, you know, Max and Strasburg and Patrick Corbin being the pitchers, Anibal Sanchez, who, you know, he's decent in his day. I mean, he was striking people out with a 60-mile-per-hour curveball in
Oh
October. That was
wow,
crazy to see. Um,
Jesus!
but you know, I want to take a step back from being a Nationals fan and just looking at it, you know, for what it was. At some point, you had to expect all that talent to click. I know it was a rough start to the year, but you know, we had a lot of talent. We're like that lineup, you know, thinking about a healthy Zimmerman who was pretty good, Rendon, Trey Turner, Juan Soto, probably missing a couple, but Adam Eaton, was still a solid player at that point. Howie Kendrick hit the hell out of the ball that whole entire year. But then you have to think like Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg were finally as advertised. That was my biggest take from that playoffs is that those two were finally as advertised together in the playoffs, and it was beautiful to see. I think that is exactly like as a Nationals fan, that is exactly what we wanted to see that whole entire time of our not dynasty, but that version of a team that we had. Um, but you know, I say it is also kind of luck because you know it was crazy. It was just nuts. Like the Nationals out of nowhere were doing actual good things after years of doing bad things. Um, and it was nice to see the Astros lose. And then, like you said, Chris, the scandal came out after. My point to that is like, imagine if the Astros won. Imagine if the Astros won the World Series and then the scandal came out. I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would have been so mad. Whew.
So to prevent
But
that, the fix is in.
hey, it was a Nationals World Series, so fuck it. I'll take it. So to 2009 Yankees, Chris, how do you feel?
Um,
Lucky or not?
I would say they weren't lucky. They were a real team. You know, they were the best team money could buy that year, and hopefully after this year we'll say they were. I'm just hopefully after this year we'll be saying that they were the only team in the last 20 years that won. The Yankees said that is. That's all I'm gonna say about the Yankees.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. They were a good team that year. I mean, they had great players. As much as I hate to say it, the rivalry actually I think fueled them a little bit. Um, I mean, like you said, hopefully it's the only one they win in the next 20 years. But with like the guys they had on that roster that could hit some bombs, granted maybe there were some steroids sprinkled in. Either way, like even if those things weren't a part of it, they still were just a powerhouse team that easily could have swept anybody, which they did. So they deserve to win the 2009 World Series.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just agree with you guys. I say real. I just think they had a real fun group of guys. Like they had so many goddamn personalities on that team. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go real. I mean, it was really nice to watch Alex Rodriguez get a championship too. Not gonna lie. And you know that win, like that Yankees win with all again, as Chris said, the best team that money could buy because their payroll was insane that year with all the players that they had. But watching the Yankees win in general, win like that, like it just felt like it felt right. It just felt like baseball. Like it just felt like it's weird to explain, but it just felt like that should happen. Like the Yankees should win that one in Yankee fashion and have everybody hate them. They didn't have the best pitching, but their pitching got outs when it mattered. So, like with CC Sabathia and AJ Burnett and Andy Pettitte. It's just funny to think about. But what do you think about the 2013 Red Sox?
Oh, Chris would be perfect for this one.
I mean, I'm going to say they were lucky. I'm going to say they were lucky only because Wolfie said a few days ago to me that the only player on that team that is an MLB show is Mike Napoli. And, he played well that year. Clay Buchholz, that was his only year he played well. They had kind of, probably most people couldn't guess who was in the bullpen that year. Koji was really, really good. He only lasted a few years where he was that dominant. Definitely lucky. I'm going to say, it was great to see Poppy win that last one before retiring. So.
Yeah, I would have to say the same thing too, pretty much. If you actually look at half of the guys that were on that roster, I mean, they had some names like Lackey, Lester. I guess they were okay. Jake Peavy was involved, but Daniel Bard, I mean, just not that great. So, Koji, Matt Thornton, Jesus. Actually, David Ross was there. That was actually good. He's gonna go down as a Cubs Red Sox legend. So, no, I would say they were lucky. I mean, the Cardinals too. They haven't actually won that much in the last 20 years. So I'm not even gonna use them as a big contender against the Red Sox. But I would just say when you look at their roster up and down, I mean, half of these guys either don't play anymore, and if they do play, they're guys you wouldn't even start. So it's actually kind of shocking some of these names on this list. But do I think they were that good? No, I would say unlucky. Or excuse me, lucky.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say lucky as well. It's just a really funny group of guys. When I was looking over this roster, it was the same reaction as you guys had. It was just, it was a funny roster, but I also remember it was also really fun to see. It was insane, and now we look at it and it's more insane. But my biggest point about 2013 is that the Tigers really let a lot of shit happen in this league. That really good Tigers team really let a lot of teams win. And this was one of those examples because the Red Sox had no business beating the Tigers in series before, but they did because the Tigers choked. I mean, the Red Sox they did have the clutch hitting and the clutch pitching there, but the Tigers let that one go. I mean, I think this year was definitely a year that if I'm a Tigers fan, look back at that one specific year and say, yeah, we probably should have won that one. I mean, because against the Giants are the Giants. They have that winning breed. But this was that year that I would say the Tigers let this one go, for sure. So I want to throw this I want to throw this curveball. The 2002 Angels.
Oh my gosh,
Chris.
So I was a little kid. I didn't really watch baseball much, but I know we looked at this a few days ago. And I'm gonna definitely say they were very lucky because we were looking at Barry Bonds' stats in the series, and it was ridiculous stat line. I want to say, and Wolfie, pull it up to call me out here or to correct me. He was 8 of 17, 4 home runs. He only struck out 3 times, and he went to the plate 30 times. He batted .470, and they did not win the World Series. That was definitely an unlucky year for them. It was definitely a lucky year for the Angels.
I don't know.
And no, because in 2002 in general. Yo, this motherfucker Barry Bonds, man. In 2002, he had 46 home runs and 110 RBIs, and that's just fine and dandy. But he went up to the plate 612 times, and only 403 of those were registered at bats.
Jesus.
He was walked 198 times and intentionally walked 68 times, which is a good about 33% of all of his.
Oh my gosh.
He stole 9 bases for the hell of it. Uh, his OPS is 1.381. Slugging percentage of 799. On base percentage of 582, and his batting average was 370.
Just to give like a hot take with that, I don't even know if they were necessarily lucky, as just like they did actually have good pieces. I mean, they had Garrett Anderson, they have when David Eckstein was good, Benji Molina, Troy Glaus. Like they actually had like decent bats. David Erstad, he was there at the time. So while they might have been facing a guy like Barry Bonds, like overall they actually had some decent like players in there. The one thing that looking at it too, once again, Chris, you brought this up. We're all pretty young, so we were pretty young for that as well. A lot of their names were, I mean, obviously we recognize someone like John Lackey, but overall, I mean Troy Percival, obviously. But overall, like looking at a lot of these guys, it's guys that either were towards the end of the career or having career years, to where, I mean, like I said, were they still lucky? I guess facing a team with Barry Bonds, sure, but they did have pieces that pushed them along to the World Series.
Man, it's lucky because this motherfucker.
Barry, let me ask you something, Wolfie. Okay.
Yeah.
Bro, in
Did
2002,
any of
all
those?
that shit that I just said, he was 37 years old.
No, like I said,
Did any of those guys get banned from baseball? Do you know? So we were looking at the stats. Barry Bonds, when he got banned from baseball, he was 43 or 40, going on 44 years old. He had got walked
43.
And he had got walked the year before 132 times.
oh, dude, no, he's insane. No, I'm saying like they still had to like face other guys. Like even as great as he was, there is still, the pitching aspect coming in. Like, he could hit 4 home runs, but if a team could put up 7 runs, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying I even said they were lucky, but not as like, they had pieces to where it's like, oh yeah, these guys were good.
And
I mean, it'd be like
dude,
if you put
he's
Barry
just-
Bonds. All right, swap Barry Bonds and Aaron Judge. Do the Yankees become like 30 wins better?
A juiced Barry
I don't know,
Bonds?
but they become
A
they
juiced Barry
become
Bonds?
200 walks better. They become 68 intentional.
I mean, are
walking
you
better.
like right now? If you put him in the lineup, are they winning tomorrow night?
Juiced or not juiced?
Juiced.
I mean, either way.
Are they
juiced.
winning? Like 100% winning?
Barry Bonds
No
is
other
gonna be seeing
additions to the
faster
team.
pitches.
Swap him with Judge. Are they winning?
You know how scary that is? You know how
I
scary
mean,
that is? Barry Bonds is facing faster pitches, so that means more home
But I'm
runs.
saying, like, are they
Yeah,
winning
it's
though?
a
Is
simple
the
question.
team
How
winning?
many I want to say that we said that Barry Bonds had like
All right,
9 triples when he was 40.
Chris, I'll give you a perfect example right here.
I
5
think that was a thing.
5-game series.
I think that was a thing.
5-game series against the Houston Astros. Swap Barry Bonds and Aaron Judge. The Yankees play 5 games against Houston. Are they winning?
They do
Are
better.
they winning?
I-
Are they winning the series?
I mean, you'd have to look
I
at
think
it.
Barry
No,
Bonds is
how
shit.
many-
I'll say this.
how many-
I wouldn't
how
even
many
press you
times-
guys on it, but just the fact you had to think about that is why I said that. I still think they're lucky, but it's not a be-all or end-all question, in my opinion.
I mean, like
Well-
pull up the stats of Aaron Judge and swap him with how Barry Bonds played in the World Series.
Well, that's
That
the
year
thing,
in
too, though,
2002.
that I can't quantify is also we're bringing in the clutch factor. Like, if you put
He almost hit
Barry
500.
Bonds and Aaron Judge in the ALDS, or, CS, and then,
Dude, in 2004, this guy got walked 232 times and got intentionally walked 120. This is at age 39
imagine
and
getting
40.
walked,
and you
like,
intentionally walked
120
120 times.
40 times. Like,
And then still getting walked 232 times besides that. Having a batting average
how
of
did he even get away
362.
with that?
Having the best OPS of all time at 1,422, and still having all the time to hit 45 home runs and 101 RBIs, steal 6 bases at 40 just for the fucking hell of it. And he only struck out 41
I don't
times.
understand like how he got away with that. Honestly, like that's insane. Like,
So I would say yes, because if you look at, I mean, he only struck out 41 times that whole season. So you replace him with Judge, I think, yeah, they definitely win.
Yeah, that's a completely different team. Honestly, that's even better than it was.
I would say they're better. I just don't
Because
know
now
if
you're
it's
talking
enough
about-
to change a whole team. That's what I'm saying.
It is, and I say it is because if you're putting astronomical numbers like that up, which is why, it really gelled during that one run where they made the World Series, and obviously baseball happens, like to your point, Wolfie. But you're now talking about guys like, Stanton and Glaber and guys like that actually getting meatballs, or everyone in front of fucking Barry Bonds. They get pitched to better, and Stanton's now hitting more home runs. Glaber's now hitting more home runs. Anthony Rizzo's now hitting more home runs.
Imagine
and
telling a Yankee fan
Barry
Glaber
Bonds
Torres is
is-
going to hit more home runs. Jesus.
Dude. That, and honestly, he got popped for a female fertility drug. You know how different you have to be?
I wouldn't know.
That guy Barry Bonds is built different. man.
Apparently, we gotta bring him
Like,
on.
Bro, he thought his story was that he said, "I thought the steroids were flaxseed oil and arthritis cream."
Oh my god, that's insane.
Like, not only did he do all this shit, he treated it like it was like the biggest joke ever. He went to court and said, "No, I didn't do it."
Dude, he took
Like-
every out he could to try to cover that, and he still to this day
But MLB made absolutely sure that he didn't get any more history whatsoever, because he
Absolutely.
was 65 more hits away from 3,000. He was 4 more RBIs away from 2,000, and he could have easily played in 2008. I mean, at the age of 43, he was still doing wicked things, and he wanted to play, but like that article we read, Chris, literally he just one day got told from MLB that he's done.
He's done. He was just done.
he's finished.
And it's,
They're like,
it's sad.
we're not letting anybody bring you back. It's over.
And then we were looking
That's
at
just a
the.
real harsh ending to his career. But I mean, I get it though. I get it for what MLB was standing for and what he kind of did. I think with the Barry Bonds thing, I do believe he's a Hall of Famer just because of everything we just mentioned. And you can't take that away from the history books. But at the same time, he did cheat to a whole fucking different level. And I understand why the harsh ending was the harsh ending. He ripped the league apart, man. That was great.
I'm just not a fan. What he did was spectacular. He was a Hall of Famer even before he started taking, but it's just that whole I just wasn't a fan of the fact that they had to cover it up. I just wish the league itself would have been more transparent about it and kind of almost in a way allowed it. But it's just that tainted record of guys that did it, didn't do it, just is always gonna hold a special place in my heart. And it's just I can't I have to separate the two. He was great with the enhancements, but for a guy like Judge that's doing it clean, I find that to be more entertaining.
I mean, is Aaron Judge doing it clean? We don't know.
I don't
No, I'm
know.
kidding.
Yeah, I mean,
But
Chris, go get
this
his
dude might be
pace.
cycling. He might be cycling in the off season.
I mean, he did randomly come to the MLB at age 25 and just hit everything out of the park. I'm just saying. No. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to a quick break after we just fucking went nuts about Barry Bonds real quick.
Thank you for watching the Built Different podcast. Please follow, please subscribe, please like. Please look us up on all the social media platforms. We're on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're everywhere. We could definitely use all the support. If you like content like this, like I said, subscribe, follow. We're going to be posting a lot of fire content coming up, and I want you to definitely be a part of it. Thank you for listening. Let's get it. Let's get it.